We're theme park families.
Theme park families.
We're theme park families.
Won't you join us now?
We're theme park families.
Thanks for joining us, we aim to please.
If roller coasters got you weak in the knees,
We're theme park families.
if you wanna find the best dessert or
Take a potty break with privacy,
find a coaster that is tame for little ones,
or one to make you scream.
we're theme park families.
Everybody's ready, babies.
Rescuing you all from life's luxuries.
We're theme park families.
We're theme park families.
Press the space bar. Get it?
And let the 2019 madness begin as things ramp up today, on Thursday, for what is the big announcement today?
Kennywood announces their new roller coaster.
So it all begins in earnest. I'm Adam,
And I'm Andrew.
and we're Theme Park Families. Thanks so much for joining us. It feels like the summer's just getting ramped up, but before you know it, it's going to be over, as we're only a couple of weeks away from some kids getting back to school. So we start getting ready for the 2019 season. Lots of teasers out, and today's going to be such a big day. Today we'll be talking about our trip to Cedar Point recently with In the Loop, so we'll chat about that in a little bit. One thing we did want to talk about, as the summer is in mid-swing, we would like to hear stories from different members of the family, whether it's a young one who's done a first milestone coaster, something that they're excited about, something a couple of family members have shared together, whether it's a father and son, mother, daughter, grandma, grandchild. If there's any exciting things that have happened in your park, certainly take out that smartphone, record an MP3, and send it in to us at themeparkfamilies@gmail.com, and we'd love to play it on the show. And why would that be a good idea for some people, especially young kids? What do you think that could do?
Because maybe that could help them with getting to go on bigger coasters or help them.
Absolutely, that could inspire some kids to do bigger things. It could also be a confidence booster for someone who's a little shy to get them talking. And it's a cool way to hear their voices on a future episode. So we'd love to hear from some of your experiences in the park. Our friend Mike has recently sent in a trip report from Six Flags Over Georgia where he rode their new RMC. So we'll play that on our next week's episode and hear what he thought of that ride, something that we're looking forward to getting on here pretty soon. And since it is past the midway point of July, what's coming up in just about over a week?
The Coaster Radio meetup at Silver Dollar City.
So exciting. And we're looking forward to seeing so many of our good friends there, hoping to meet some new friends as well. Just about 2 weeks away from that happening. So that's really exciting. And that's going to be part of a big trip for us where we'll be heading to Missouri again like we did last year, hitting up a couple of new parks for us as well. And we'll be chatting about that here pretty soon with what parks we're going to be getting to. But before we talk about Cedar Point and all those other things, let's have some news.
If not riding coasters will give you the blues, it's Andrew's news.
Carowinds has continued their teaser posters with a new one for White Lightning Spark plugs, which are aerodynamic and are guaranteed over 137 miles.
So that's pretty funny. And I like a lot of the jokes that they're making with a lot of their posters, saying that they're aerodynamic. That makes you think of what?
Like the aero coasters.
Which is pretty silly, as we know that it's certainly not going to be an aero coaster. And that's the funny thing. How many people who go to Carowinds and see that poster are going to know what aerodynamics is a reference to? So it's kind of cool that they're targeting the enthusiasts with these posters, and I think that's pretty funny, right? Some of the other posters referred to one that referenced Mach, one that talked about the Bird Farm expansion poster with Miami River Lumber Company, and that was a reference to what with the Miami River?
Oh, it was Mystic Timbers.
Yeah, which is pretty funny. A shout out to other Cedar Fair parks. We build barns, Miami River. Our lumber is obtained by means of vengeance. A little shout out to Cedar Point. But they're temporarily out of southern white pine until our next shipment arrives next season, kind of stating it's not going to be a wooden coaster like so many people originally thought it was going to be a GCI put there near the water park. The latest one that came out about last week was that there was a new one with Centurion with a Mean Streak logo, the blue background with the lightning in front of it. And Centurion, do you remember what I said that name referenced?
No.
Yeah, that was the original project plan before Fury became Fury 325.
Oh,
that a lot of people thought it was going to be.
remember.
Yeah, a lot of people thought it was going to be called Centurion. So kind of a cool shout out to not only their own park, but a lot of others as well.
Kennywood's teaser campaign with their scratch-off numbers has continued, as well as culminating with a word scramble on the 4th of July, which among many other words, T-Rex, which got a lot of people very excited.
Yeah, so a lot of people thinking that this Kennywood coaster could be one of the best coasters, if not the best. Sadly, we found out that it won't use the ravine, which is a bit of a letdown. That would have been kind of nice. But we saw all that construction when we were there a couple weeks ago. Yeah,
there will still be a lot of... It'll go through that little water area with their bumper boats and stuff. And it'll still go around the park, which will be fun.
Oh, definitely. Exactly. It's a large enough of an area, even if it doesn't use the ravine. Yeah. Interesting that one of those words that was in that word scramble was T-Rex. And that was a lot of the early rumors that it was going to be an RMC. And whether they're just pulling people's legs or not, with a larger Raptor track that can sit two across with the T-Rex, it's hard to know if they're really going to put that much money into it. Some people think, like, what did you think it was going to be?
I thought it was going to be like a mock. That is like, it starts out with the launch, but eventually in like the middle of the ride it has like a lift hill. That means like the 137 feet or whatever on one of the scratch offs.
Oh, and one was 197 as well.
Yeah.
So interesting. What other ride that we're going to be doing pretty soon is like that has a launch and then a lift hill later? So it used to be on an old water coaster site, and you get transferred onto the track. It launches you do the first half, then you go up a lift hill. And it starts with powder and ends with keg.
Oh, powder keg.
Powder keg, yeah, you got it. Nice. That's sort of like that. And that's one of the things you had questioned before, whether there would possibly be so many mocks built at once, whether Carowinds and Kennywood are both going to get them. Some people are thinking Intamin launch, and like, boy, I would love that. I'd love to see Intamin come back.
It would be cool for an Intamin, but like, if they really were getting a T-Rex, I don't know how that would be, because like they would be the first park to get a T-Rex. I would go for like a much bigger park to get a T-Rex, because like then like if it shuts down for the day or whatever, or has problems, they still have a lot of other coasters too.
Right. Like a Magic Mountain, maybe, something like that.
Yeah, or like...
Because they are clearing land for their new coaster, so...
Yeah.
So that's a really interesting theory. If whether 1 year was enough turnaround time to show that the two Raptor coasters were enough of a success to build a T-Rex. Love the idea, and maybe Kennywood gets a discount for having the first T-Rex if they went that route, so it wouldn't be as expensive as we might think it is. We'll find out in literally about an hour what it's going to be, so that's kind of exciting.
Energylandia in Poland has released the POV of their Intamin mega coaster, Hyperion, which has 4 seats across and a really fun layout.
So you took a look at that POV pretty recently. What did you think of the layout?
It looks really fun. And I noticed that for this hyper coaster or mega coaster, or whatever you want to call it looks very low to the ground. Like all those airtime hills are very low to the ground, and the whole like layout is very low to the ground.
Interesting. When you describe it like that, it makes me think of Raging Bull, B&M's one of their earliest hypers, and how that is considered more of a twister hyper, that it is so low to the ground.
Yeah.
And interesting to see some changes from Intamin, that they are going to 4 cross seating, and hopefully it'll lead to more reliability.
Yeah, and the track now looks like a B&M track.
Yeah, kind of interesting. So they're changing up everything a little bit.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like that traditional box Intamin track.
No, it doesn't look at all like the Millennium Force type track or whatever.
And cool to see that it has the turnaround inversion towards the middle of the ride that very few hypers ever have. So it looks like a really fun layout, and if there are more of these built like Taron as well, a different coaster in Europe that has gotten rave reviews, that this might signal a return to greatness for Intamin, and we'll see more of them in America. For it's been a long time since we've had a large Intamin coaster built. There's that Wave Runner coaster that was built at
SeaWorld.
Yeah, SeaWorld San Antonio.
Yeah.
But that's really been it for a long time. So hopefully a return to greatness. Well, before we get to our Cedar Point trip, we want to talk about kind of a strange experience we had at a park that we were at in the spring, which was very, very strange. One of our earlier Cedar Fair parks for the year. You remember where that was, where we had that strange experience?
No.
Huh, well,
No.
If I can refresh your memory, we were at King's Dominion, and it was one of our times on one of their wooden coasters, which we'll talk about in a second. And it was very, very strange.
Yeah.
And it reminded us of a very bizarre video that went viral a few years ago in 2015 from the internet that you might have heard of. It involves a kayaker in Alaska named Mary Maley, who had an unfortunate interaction with a bear who gently inspected her kayak, which was pulled onto the shore. She sadly needed the kayak to complete her journey. If you do know this video, you can skip the next 2.5 minutes of the show. But for those who don't, just take a listen and see how this all went. To set the scene for you, we're in Alaska, and we've got a kayak that's pulled onto the shore about 10 feet. The person taking the video is about 30 feet on shore, and you have an inlet in front of you, surrounded on both sides by beautiful pine trees. The woman is standing, about 20 feet away, and the bear is approaching her, and she is very worried about her kayak, as you'll hear here.
Thank you for leaving my kayak alone. I'm going to pepper spray you in the face. That's what I'm going to do to you.
She just sprayed pepper spray,
At the bear.
and the bear ran away towards the kayak again.
Go away. No! Get away from the kayak. Get away from that kayak. Come here. Come on. Stop it, bear. Stop it.
Stop
Bear! 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 You're breaking it! You're breaking my kayak! Why are you doing that? Why are you breaking my kayak? Why are you breaking my kayak? What am I gonna do? Why are you breaking my kayak? Stop it! Bear! Stop that! Stop that, Bear! Bear! Stop! Stop breaking my kayak, please! Please stop! Gosh darn it! Oh, why are you doing that? Bear, please stop! Please stop, Bear! It's the end of September! Why are you here? You're supposed to be asleep! Why are you here? Oh! Bear! Bear! Stop that! Stop that! Bear, stop that! Bear! Bear, stop that! Bear, stop that! Bear, stop that! Please stop that, Bear! Bear, please stop that! Please stop breaking my things! Please stop breaking my things, Bear! Bear! Please stop breaking my things! It's not even food! It doesn't even taste good! It's just plastic! Bear, please stop! Please stop, Bear! Bear, please stop! Please stop that, Bear! Bear, I'm gonna bear spray you! Please stop! Bear! 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 Bear, please stop!
The bear was attacking the seat there for the most part, ripping out cushions and seats and other soft things inside.
I think I'm gonna give you guys a job. Count how many times she says bear, and in the next trip report, just say that in your trip report.
Oh! See if they can count the number of bears and report back to us, which is pretty funny.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things we love about the video, which I don't even remember how I found it the first time, is not necessarily the video itself, but the comments. The comment section is just such a joy to read.
You found it on Facebook.
Is that how I found it?
Yeah.
I came across it on Facebook? I don't even remember that. It was about, 7-8 months ago that I found it, so way after it went viral. But some of the comments that we love, what are some of the ones that you think are funny?
So, I think, some of the ones that are funny are that the person was on the bear's side.
Team Bear, so those were pretty funny. Some of them stated that the bear's name was actually Frank, and that's why it didn't listen. Stop calling me Bear Human, that's not my name. That was pretty comedic. Yeah, drinking games. People said you should drink every time that she says bear, but I think people would pass out and potentially it could be fatal, so that is not a good idea. And then I think my favorite comment was someone who said that the bear was actually tearing apart the kayak looking for earplugs so that it didn't have to hear her anymore. A funny video, but strange. How does it connect to theme parks? That seems odd. Like, what would a bear and a kayak in Alaska have anything to do with a theme park, right? But if you remember last time we were at King's Dominion, there's a certain coaster that's themed after a bear. I don't remember. Which one is it?
Grizzly.
Oh, yeah, Grizzly back in the woods. Exactly. So we happened to have a very strange interaction with someone when we were on the ride. There was someone behind us, and it reminded us eerily of that video with the kayak. So let's take a listen and see what we think.
Thank you for having a smooth left hill. I'm going to enjoy riding you, Bear. Not a bad first drop, Bear. Turn to the left, pretty smooth too. Second drop. Okay, two. Oh no, the tunnel. Stop, Bear. Why are you so rough? Why are you breaking my back, Bear? Stop it, Bear. Ouch. This right-hand curve never ends. Why are you damaging my kidneys? Bear. Stop, Bear. These hills are not fun. Bear. Ouch. Why are you using triangular wheels? Bear! Stop, Bear! Please stop, Bear! You're breaking my internal organs, Bear! You're breaking me! Bear! Please stop! Please stop that, Bear! 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 I'm going to report you to Ace! Please, Bear. Oh. Gosh darn it, Bear. You were recently retrapped. Why are you so rough? You're supposed to be smooth. Bear. 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 Thank goodness for the brake run. Oh, my body. Bear. I'm going to shut you down.
Welcome back, Yellow Train. How was that ride?
So that was kind of odd, right? Weren't they kind of similar?
Yeah, that was pretty weird how we heard pretty much the same thing as that video.
And it's funny because it's a kind of ride that a lot of people like that person complain about being so rough and brutal, but other people love it. And do you think it's that rough?
I mean, yeah, parts, like in the tunnel and then that turn right after the tunnel.
Yeah.
I mean, those parts are kind of rough.
You know, I remember the first couple of times that we did it, I hated it and thought it was brutal. But after you do more and more coasters like we have, your ability to do rough rides and what you consider rough, I think changes over time. Would you agree with that? And that's why I think I want to get back to Great Escape at some point. The Comet, it was, I think for both of us,
that was brutal.
And I think that's our lowest rated coaster of any. Like, I'd take any kiddie coaster over it, and even though it's so highly rated. But the year we did it, that was oh gosh, 3 years ago now.
We couldn't wait for it to be over.
It's the only time on a coaster that we both felt, when is this going to end? This is awful. And I would like to get on it now. First of all, I've heard there's been retracking, and second of all, it might not be as rough to us. Now, it wasn't rattly rough like a lot of other coasters, and that's the difference. It banged.
It bumped.
It banged and bumped in different spots, and that's different than rattly to me. But hopefully that person was okay, complaining about internal organs being damaged and all that. So hopefully it worked out okay. So that's kind of crazy.
And the person said that they were going to shut it down, but it hasn't been shut down yet.
No, exactly. As far as we know, but maybe Ace has been contacted. Speaking of, what did we just receive in the mail? Speaking of Ace.
Oh, we got our Ace memberships.
Yes, it feels like we've entered a new level of nerddom as we have our Ace membership packet. We needed it for when we did Hollywood Nights and figured we'll probably do some events this year as well. So we got our packet in. That'll be interesting to see how that changes things if we do some of their events and all that. So yay, Ace. Well, last year we had an episode where we talked about Cedar Point in pretty good detail, talking about a lot of the rides we did. And so we're not going to talk about our recent Cedar Point trip quite that way with all of the details, but there were some certain highlights to it. Now, this is our first time we went to Cedar Point this year, and of course we had to do Steel Vengeance. And it worked out pretty well that we could align our timing with In the Loop, who are doing their Drunken Vengeance weekend. Some of those videos are coming out on their YouTube page, so definitely check that out.
Are they already out?
Well, I know that The Legend has put out a couple of his videos. The one that Clint is doing that features theme park families, that one, there are so many different segments of it, so I know it's taking him a lot longer to do it, but literally, that was probably like 25 different segments that he had to piece together.
Really?
So yeah. There's a lot of parts to that video, which we'll talk about a little bit later. So yeah, all that is going to be coming out. And so anytime we could see our good friends Clint and Shari and Reese, your mac and cheese bro, who the boys loved hanging out with on this trip, anytime we can get to see them is kind of nice, since we don't always get down to Virginia. It was a really cool opportunity to hang out with them. And even you and Alex, and more so Alex, but you got a little surprise from Clint when we first arrived. Yeah. What did he have?
He had a beanie.
Aw, and Alex was so excited. On our last trip to Virginia, he became mini Clint Novak, sort of Clint's bodyguard, and he takes the transactions for people who ask for pictures and autographs and interviews from Clint. That Alex holds the handheld credit card swiping machine for that. And so he's mini Clint Novak.
Like pictures with Clint Novak cost $25.
Ooh,
signatures cost $10.
Okay. An interview should be like 100 then, or something like that.
Yeah, that's what they said.
Yeah. It was, I know Clint and Sherry, it was their first time going to Cedar Point in a while.
Like 4 or 5 years.
Exactly. So they were there for Gatekeeper, but they weren't there for Valraven and certainly Steel Vengeance as well. One of the exciting things about the trip was the experiences for Alex, who's 7 and just turned 52 inches. And so it was exciting for him. On that first night, we got to do Maverick, and he hadn't done it yet. And when he got in line, how was Alex feeling?
I mean, he was nervous, but he wasn't like, oh, I'm not going to do it. So, I mean...
We had to coax him really.
No.
Yeah. Well, he
wasn't that nervous.
He's not quite as adventurous. He was getting a little sparkle-eyed, as we call it. He was nervous about the launch more than anything. He's done Millennium Force a ton of times, so height doesn't bother him. It was the launch. And we convinced him it's not a Top Thrill dragster launch. So when he got off the first time, how did he feel about it?
He liked it a lot.
And we wound up doing it probably 10 times over the 3 days we were there, approximately. Now, that's the nice thing about Steel Vengeance. Opening all the lines for the other coasters are radically smaller, which was kind of nice. I think the longest we waited in any other coaster might be a half hour at the most for anything else other than Steel Vengeance.
Millennium Force, it was about...
Yeah, and that was the most. And, boy, plenty of times we did Millennium Force, we didn't even have to walk out the exit, right? There were a couple.
They just let us go back through the exit and just let us keep doing that.
Right, the exit of the station that you literally could cut through. Exactly.
There's a gate that you could cut through to get back in the main line.
Yeah, exactly. We'll save Steel Vengeance for our ride of the week at the end of the episode and chat about that. It was great that Alex got to do Maverick, and that's a ride that I like more and more as time goes on. fun. I think I was a little critical of Maverick the first time, didn't think it was all that intense, but each time you do it, I like it more and more. The airtime moments, especially in the back of the train. That first hill after the first drop and that turn to the right, that first hill is great. And then that airtime hill going to the brake run, love both of those elements. And the new thing about 2018 for Maverick in the tunnel there with the launch, what did they have?
They have the theming, but is that new?
Yeah, oh yeah, adding it back again. There hasn't been it in there for years. So when you talk about Maverick having the soft restraints, we never did the hard restraints. And then the lights in the tunnel, and it's got the train sound, right? The ding, ding, ding. And when you see that, it's great that you can take an old ride that's starting to break down, kind of like Loch Ness Monster, that they just added some effects into the tunnel. I love those kind of things. And it shows that a park cares.
For the anniversary? Yeah.
Oh yeah, exactly. So that was great to see. Alex also got his first rides in on Valravn. He loved the front row, and as much as we never really get front rows on coasters, don't really care that much, Valravn really is a front row ride. Would you agree?
Yeah, because Valravn in the middle and the back row, there's really no difference at all, because the train isn't long enough to have a whip, and there isn't a really better view on the middle or the back row, so front row is probably the best, in my opinion.
Oh, I thoroughly agree. Exactly. He got one ride in on Gatekeeper, which I think he liked, and it's a beautiful looking ride. One of the great parts about the trip, not only doing so many rides and it being pretty light overall because of the heat, I think that was a huge part of it. The water park looked like it was jam-packed, but since it was heat indexes around 100 all 2.5 days, the lines for the coasters were pretty short. And that was nice, but it also made for kind of uncomfortable temperatures. And I think we did more indoor stuff than normally we would do, even going to the theater one of the days.
Yeah.
And doing some of the water rides you guys did between the 2 days.
We did that river raft ride about 4 or 5 times.
Each of the 2 long days. Did it feel really good to get in there?
Yeah, it did. And even one of the days, we ate at their Midway Market.
Yep.
Their all-you-can-eat buffet. It's like $5 if you have the meal plan.
A little bit more, was it a little bit more? Yeah, something like that. I think $8 extra on top of the meal plan, exactly. Yeah. And it was our first time in there, and we'll talk about that a little bit later as we did a kind of group discussion in there. But I think that was one of the main motivators to do it, not only for the video, as that was an added on extra for this In the Loop video that we were a part of, but also just to get into some air conditioning.
Yeah, that's why I brought it up. It had great air conditioning. That's where we were cooling down for a while, so.
Oh, exactly. One of the cool things as well about the trip was Gemini. And Gemini, just like Loch Ness Monster, has a special year this year. It's the 40th anniversary of Gemini being open. So that's why they had the disco ball there, because it was from 1978. We did it a number of times, including we did it with an employee who works there who really wanted to do it while it was dueling. Do you remember her name?
Nope. And we rode with who on that?
Maverick Mac, who absolutely loves that ride. Mackenzie, and she hadn't done it while it was dueling, so we did it with Mackenzie and Timmy and Sharian and Reese and Clint. And it really is a ride that I undervalue as well. It's super fun when it's dueling.
But it's so underrated.
Yeah, I agree. You would say you like it way more than Magnum?
Yeah.
Because Magnum hurts you a little bit?
Magnum, yeah. On the return trip, those bunny hops hurt so much, but yeah.
We got to try the tricks. A lot of people said next time we go that you tighten the belt as much as you can. Third row, tighten the belts, and then leave the lap bar kind of up. A ton of fun, and especially when it is dueling. For our ride of the day, let's talk about Steel Vengeance in detail here, as it was, of course, the main reason of going. We did it a total of 4 times. We did it twice the first night that we were there because we got the last ride of the night, and then they let us do one more ride since there were a couple more people who came on.
No.
So it was great to do 2 rides on that final night.
No, we didn't get that. So what we did...
I did.
So what we did is, we rode one time. We weren't the last train. We were like the second or third to last train. and then they let us ride again, and then we were the last.
Because there were empty rows. Exactly. So it worked out beautifully. So we did it 2 times that first night, the following morning, and 1 on our last night. So a total of 4 times. And it really is the kind of ride that you need to do, would you agree, multiple times? Kind of like Maverick grew on me, that Steel Vengeance.
Because
so much is happening, right?
Yeah, because it's so long and there's so many parts you just have to focus on. Some of the times the drop and the first couple right-hand turns or some of the inversions, you have to just take a while to get it all through your mindset. And so I think you should definitely ride that at least more than 4 or 5 times.
You have to, exactly, to kind of take it all in. The area looks beautiful. I think that sign and the whole queue really does look nice. The ride itself, in terms of a night ride, did you think it was very dark?
I mean, it's dark, but they're to the right-hand side, there are a lot of lights, so yeah, it's darkish.
Yeah, nowhere near like a Voyage or a Beast where you're kind of in complete darkness. In that way, it's not quite the same. Now, one thing Alex and I both really noticed are those support cables.
Yeah, the cables
about a third of the way through, yeah.
Yeah, that hook onto the rest of the ride.
It's kind of near the lift hill, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going under the lift hill, I believe.
Yeah, it's weird how prominent they are. The first couple times I saw them, I was like, whoa, just kind of a weird visual encounter that you have there.
I feel like they have those on some of the wooden coasters on their turns.
Oh, yeah.
They have a lot of them. Yeah.
Oh, sure. A lot do use those. I like the lights that they have on the lift hill, kind of like old gas lanterns they look like, and kind of adds to the theme a little bit. The nice little bunny hops before you get to the lift hill.
Yeah, those are very cute.
Yeah, Joker in California has those same kind of bunny hops, maybe even a little bit bigger. So that's supposed to be a cool start to that ride as well. The first drop I thought was okay, nothing special. Very similar to other RMCs.
Yeah, it was okay.
But fun. And good in the back. A gorgeous first hill after that, and then it's that second hill where you're banked to the left side outside. It's so awkward and fun. Okay, well, as this is not a visual podcast, your hand motion wasn't visible to everyone, but yes, exactly. It is kind of weird. And you're out of your seat that whole time. And then I really like that first inversion because it's so different than other RMCs with inversions because of the speed at that point, that you are flying so fast while going upside down.
Yeah, and I like how it's built into the whole structure. So you could tell that it's a lot of head choppers.
Oh, definitely. And then I think one of the sleeper parts of the ride, those 2 uphill moments heading into the brake run, right before you get there. It's just kind of a really cool motion heading into the brake run with some fun pops of air right there.
And then there's the one inversion where it goes almost all the way, then it flips back over very intensely.
Like the Wicked Cyclone Stall. Yeah, exactly, kind of fun. And as so many people said, there are moments where at first it's kind of hard to tell exactly where you are, that things are so furious and fast in that structure, that those really are awesome moments. The second hill after you come off the brake run has great moments of airtime in the back, really like that as well. We lucked out that really on our 4 rides, I never felt the mid-course brake run engage once. We did not slow down at all. Some people talk about it pulling really hard, but we just never experienced one of those. So it's going to be really interesting to see if they do get that 3rd train on anytime soon. I know they've been testing a lot, but we'll see. And so what a great addition to the park, where we go from one of the worst coasters in the park, almost not rideable to the general mass public, to one of, if not the best ride in the park. So it really just takes Cedar Point to a whole new level. Now, in terms of families, as our podcast really focuses on, thinking about all RMCs compared to Steel Vengeance and that 52-inch height requirement, do you think that ride warrants 4 more inches, that they needed to go that route in terms of its intensity compared to Goliath and Lightning Rod and Storm Chaser and all these other RMCs that you've done?
I mean, I don't think there really is a good reason that they should make it to 52, because thinking about it, Lightning Rod is just as intense. Where I don't really get it, because the lap bar system is the exact same as all of the other ones that are 48, and I mean the intensity there's not really much of a difference, so I don't get what the problem is.
It's really hard for me to believe that gives more G-forces than Lightning Rod.
Do they just have to be safe and stick with their 52-inch height?
It's hard to say whether it was just the overall group of hierarchy at Cedar Point that decided, all right, this is too much and really we shouldn't have 48-inch riders on this, because Millennium Force, which is 48 inches, for the first time ever you said you were close to having that gray out, whereas on...
First time ever?
Yeah, you never really mentioned feeling graying out on any ride, even I-305, which most people do. But this was the first time you said, whoa, I really felt like I was graying out on Millennium Force.
Yeah, well, my vision got dark. After the drop and that first bank turn, right on that straight part going into the tunnel, my vision got dark.
Right.
And that's the only coaster that has happened on.
Right. Whereas
weird.
There's no chance in Steel Vengeance of that happening.
No.
And so it'll be interesting to see if that stays 52 inches forever. Are other parks that get new RMCs, are they going to follow suit and possibly do 52 inches? And comparing this to Twisted Timbers, it shows why I really don't think I'll rank coasters anymore. They couldn't be any more different. I still love Twisted Timbers, and it's hard to rank them. They're just all so good in their own ways. So I think ranking them is kind of tough. Now, for another reason, Steel Vengeance was pretty important to you. For what number coaster was that?
199.
199. And so we have some polls up on our Twitter and Facebook in terms of voting to see what coaster in our area that he hasn't done yet should be number 200. Whether it's going to be King Dakar, Nitro,
Ravine Flyer 2.
Ravine Flyer 2, or possibly Time Traveler. We have that up there. You can look on our social media and vote there. But that's going to be exciting. So not bad, 9 years old. And by the end of the summer, you'll probably be somewhere around, or by the end of the year, who knows?
Yeah.
230, 240, something like that?
250.
You're flowing. Hey, easy at 250.
250? Yeah, by the end of this year, 250.
Wow, that's exciting if it happens. We'll see. So we'll be reporting on that here pretty soon, what number 200 will be.
Tip of the day, tip of the day. It's the tip of the day. Tip of the day, tip of the day. It's the tip of the day.
Yeah.
For our tip of the day, staying with Cedar Point on a hot day, Frontier Trail is kind of the place to be. It's a much cooler spot. There are a lot of things to do that are not theme park related.
Yeah, there's a lot of shade, and this time that we went, there's been a lot of stuff adding, like there's rocking chairs, there's this one little patio area where there's like a little swing, and there's, for the barbecue and brew festival, there was like, what's that game where you throw bean bags into
Oh, yeah, like
hole?
right, cornhole.
Where you throw the bean bags.
Yeah, that was neat that they had that this year.
And you tried to get them in the hole.
That was kind of nice that they had there. Of course, you can do the horse riding and the petting zoo. You talked about a show that we've never done there, that we've done at Corning, but we've never done at Cedar Point.
Yeah, there's a glass blowing show that we've never seen there, but I just saw it this one time that we went. And there's even a sign that says glass blowing. You can even blow glass. And I didn't ever think that was true, but I thought it was just like a theming sign. But
Yeah. No, that you can help out to make your own. There's lots to do back there, and of course that has the largest amount of trees at Cedar Point. Kind of wish on days like that they had more trees towards the front of the park. There are some sections when you're walking by Rougarou and Millennium Force and that whole mid section there that you just feel like you're baking. So
even like misters would be nice.
Exactly. That would help out a lot. I think a lot of people kind of stuck to that Frontier Trail. I've never seen so many people on Snake River Falls and the other water ride back there.
Yeah, the river raft ride.
Exactly. So super popular, and so a great place to stay if you're not going to the water park when it is hot back there. On our last day that the In the Loop crew was there, we did all of the recording for the video that we'll be helping out with when Clint eventually posts it to the In the Loop channel.
Yeah, because didn't they have to do like a video to stay at their Airbnb?
That's the deal, that if they're on a business trip for In the Loop going to parks, that they have to create content. And so everyone did a different video, meeting the legend and his girlfriend Molly, which was great in the Steel Vengeance ride. They were creating videos from Put in Bay and Beer and Barbecue Fest and all that kind of stuff. Whereas, what's the theme of Clint and Sherry and Reese's video?
All the stuff you can spend your money on at Cedar Point.
It's almost like a Secret Santa has given you an unlimited card. All the add-ons that you can do within the park itself.
Yeah.
So what were some of the things that they did?
Yeah, they wanted to see how much money you could spend. They did the caricatures, they did the airbrush t-shirts, they did the face paint, they did the henna tattoos, they did midway games, they did, silhouettes.
Yeah, that was so cool.
They did the sky ride, and then they did the old-time pictures.
Yeah, which you were an important part of. And a lot of those are pretty comical. The henna tattoo and the face painting, you'll definitely want to check that out, as there were some comedic moments there. Sherry was a great sport for that, so you'll definitely want to check that out. So that should be a really entertaining video. Little Alex plays an important role as he plays some of the games, including a great battle against Reese. Looking forward to seeing that video, which Clint is finishing editing up now. As we said, we did a group discussion with a number of people when we were in the buffet, where a lot of us talked about our reactions to that weekend, what we thought of the new ride, and all that. So let's take a listen and see what we said. All right, we have got a theme park family in the loop mashup. We are in the buffet center right now. What is this called?
The Midway Market.
Midway Market, and we'll get to exactly who's here in a little bit. Now, this is the In the Loop. What's the official title of it? The
Drunken Vengeance Weekend, I believe.
Drunken Vengeance Weekend, and
yes. This is replacing free RT. Except we didn't invite anybody who actually won free RT, except for you. That was it.
Okay.
So you're the only one.
So then, now I actually feel better us doing this on In the Loop's dime, the buffet, because we were owed free RT.
You were owed a buffet, and that's what I gave you.
All these years later, it pays off. All right, and it's nice to get into the air conditioning on a day that's incredibly warm, so that's a good thing.
Yes.
All right, so first of all, your goals with what you're doing today, so people can check this out on YouTube.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
So in order to the Drunken Vengeance Weekend, we have got an Airbnb. So we've got the legend, me, some of the other contributors to our YouTube page, Ranger, Andrew Hyde, those guys. Reese Atkins is here.
Oh, what? Reese is here?
Reese.
Oh my God!
Reese?
Mac and cheese. So we have this Airbnb, and in order to be in the Airbnb, you have to create a video content from Cedar Point.
Yep.
So everybody is going crazy. There's going to be so much Cedar Point content over the next month on our YouTube page that people are going to be sick of Cedar Point. They're never going to want to come back. But so we had to get very creative because there's so many people who have to create videos. We're like, how are we going to do this? So I had to do 3 videos. We did one of the museum. We just did a walk through the museum, very easy. But the big video, the video that we're working on today, that is going to be probably the most expensive video ever made for the In the Loop fans, is silly things to spend your money on at Cedar Point.
Oh gosh, so we're expecting big numbers for this one.
Yes, big numbers.
Yeah,
Some of the things that we're doing, we're getting an airbrush shirt made. Who does airbrush shirts at amusement parks?
Dan the T-shirt guy. That's his thing.
That's it. Dan the T-shirt guy.
Keeping that industry alive.
And now Clint Novak's going to get an airbrush T-shirt. We're going to get face painting. We're going to do henna tattoos.
And by where? What do you mean by we're getting that?
Okay, well,
I'm confused by the
We're all walking
where.
around together. We just did an antique photo with you guys.
Yes,
we did an antique photo with you guys. Reese has agreed to do the face painting.
Don't spoil it.
I'm not. This is all I'm going to say. Reese has agreed to do it, but he doesn't understand really the involvement in which he has really what he has committed himself to.
Yes.
He doesn't know yet. But and Sherry's going to get a henna tattoo.
Okay, nice.
We did the what are they? Frontier Swing or Frontier Fling, which is the Ripcord Sky Coaster.
Dilbert's.
Yeah.
Yes,
We did
very
that
nice.
first thing this morning. Really great value. $25 for 3 people. That's total, not per person. So $25 platinum pass, it was like $22.50 for the 3 of us to do that.
The cheapest you'll ever find that at this park.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how was this one? What did you think of it?
I enjoyed it. I had a lot of anxiety before we did it.
How many of them have you done before?
That was only my second one.
Oh, wow. Okay,
I did
yeah.
that in King's Dominion. So.
Okay, great,
Reese
great.
had to pull the
I
cord.
refused to pull the cord.
Reese had to pull the cord, and the whole way up, he had his eyes closed. He's making this face.
Yeah, the audio podcast.
Reese,
Yeah.
Reese, I know,
Yes.
I know, but I said, Reese, open your eyes, look over there, look it, shoot the rapids, the station. You can see it over there, and he's just like,
Is that
He
your
would move it.
Is that your first one you've done?
No.
Oh no.
I've done the one at King's Dominion like 3 times now, all for free. I've never paid for it.
Yeah.
But we.
well, and then you're holding true. You didn't pay for it today.
That's very true.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
this was the first time someone paid. Before it was like season
They
pass or
just did
rides
it, yeah.
training, and I would just get on.
Nice.
But I don't know. Rides like that where
Yeah.
there's like a sudden drop or a sudden launch.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
get to me. Like it just like the pressure just builds up. So we're lifting up, and I'm trying to close my eyes and like zen and. Clint's like, man,
Yeah,
we're
no.
so high.
Yeah.
Open your eyes, man. You gotta see
Look at the view.
beautiful.
Look at the view.
It's like, God. So
What-
that's why I was telling him to shh.
Was this more nerve-wracking than Top Thrill for you?
Yes.
Oh, it was. Wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah.
Wow.
Now, you guys haven't been. How long has it been, Sherry, since you've been here now?
5 years.
So 5 years. So 2 new credits for you, right? Valraven.
Well, and Rougarou.
Yep.
Oh, Rougarou. Jeez, yeah.
You counted as
Yeah,
Steel
yeah.
Vengeance.
new
Yes.
name, new trains.
Also,
Different
I
experience.
think Gemini was not open the last time we came. So,
Oh, okay.
so I did get to ride that.
With
Okay.
its 40th, and you noticed the disco ball in the station
Very
for its 40th.
party festive.
Ex-
Let me tell you.
Exactly.
Spare no expense.
So, your thoughts on Valraven for your first time then?
I really liked it. I still would say I like Griffin more, but I did like it.
Okay, good.
I say Valraven's my favorite dive coaster. Beats out Shikra and Griffin.
Int-
Really enjoyed it.
What
There's
aspect of it do you like better?
There's that like corkscrew
Yeah.
drop that's just like, this is what makes it. Like the other two, all of the elements are the same, just different layout.
Right.
And there's some theming, Shikra, more theming there. But this is a unique layout, and some of the elements it does is not found on
totally
another dive
agree.
coaster in the U.S. So it's just, I like it. It's great. It was probably the biggest surprise for me coming up here because I thought I would be like, oh, Cedar Point built a dive coaster. No, it's gonna be just like Griffin, you know. But no, I'm walking away. That's a great coaster. Love it.
Yeah, terrific. Well, and you totally agree,
I
just because
totally agree.
that was the only one you were tall enough for.
Yeah,
at
I
52
totally
inches
agree.
at this
Yep.
point. Yeah. Very good.
Are we going to introduce ourselves?
Oh wait, who are you?
Oh, I'm Andrew.
What? Oh, so that's Andrew, and where are you from?
Newfield, New York.
Okay, nice to meet you. And the one thing we didn't talk. And who are you, by the way?
Alex.
You're Alex. And then we have one other new voice that we haven't heard from yet, as we have
This is Jordan Hill.
Jordan. And Jordan, you are from.
I guess I'm from Lexington, Kentucky, and I just moved to Columbus about a month ago.
Nice. And you have your home park, of course, is
I'd consider Kings Island. Yeah.
Kings Island. Okay, very cool. Now, is this your first time to Cedar Point this year?
I think I've been 3 times before today.
Okay, 3 times. All right. So, and we'll come back to everyone's thoughts now on the real reason that we're all here. So, of
Blue
course,
streak.
Blue streak. Okay. So, yeah. Okay. Well, this is our public service announcement section because it's good to
Good tips
inform
for the
people.
parks, yeah.
So, you want? Can we explain that blue streak story there?
Okay, so I was wearing this hat all day, and Adam was just talking up. He loved this hat. He told me that I looked very metrosexual. That is
was.
a quote.
That's
That
a compliment.
That I looked
I
very.
like
No,
the
no.
color.
I accept it. It was definitely a compliment.
Yes.
That it was very metrosexual of me because the hat and my glasses matched.
And
Okay,
it's not a typical color. What color would you say?
It was like a pastel blue.
Exactly, a baby
yeah,
blue,
like a
yeah.
baby blue.
Yep.
So, I have blue eyes. I have blue glasses. So it
like
was
I
just-
didn't notice.
It was just the
Yeah.
whole thing. Adam
Yes.
was really feeling this.
Yes.
We got on blue streak, blue hat, blue eyes, blue glasses, blue streak, and next thing you know, we're on like the 2nd or 3rd hump, and I forgot I was wearing the hat, and I just feel it fly off the top of my head.
Right.
I screamed my hat. Sherry starts laughing. She thought it was a joke.
Yes.
And it was not a joke. It was very tragic.
But the end of the story.
Cedar Point has rescued the hat. I was
Yes.
informed this morning that they have the hat.
Does it have to go to the hospital?
I don't know why I didn't think about it, but we got off the ride and we went and did other stuff, and he was like, oh, maybe one of our friends in like guest services could help us, and then I was like, oh, I know somebody at Blue Streak, so I messaged that person and I was like, by chance, what do we do if we lost a hat? And she said, well, we'll just notify the crew, and if they pick up the hat, we'll let you know. And then at like 10 o'clock at night, she says, yeah, we got the hat. It goes to security, then to guest services, so maybe by tomorrow afternoon, it'll make it to Lost and Found. So we'll stop by, see if we can get the hat. But they said that the hat has been delivered to Lost and Found or security, so we'll see.
So that's great news.
So the story is still developing. You know, you never know.
This was a $6 hat at Target. And
Okay. It looks like a $50 hat from Target, so it doesn't.
Speaking of hats.
Speaking
of hats.
That's a segue. That's what we call that.
Yes. So I got the legendary beanie hat that I wear to all the amusement parks. And for some reason, a parcel of mail that was supposed to go to you guys was delivered to my house.
Weird.
It was to Alex, and Alex now has one of the Clint Novak beanies, but he's not wearing it right now.
Taking a break for lunch.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It has a frog and a star, and it also has like a little hanger. Yeah, you can put it on stuff, and it also has purple and a couple other colors that isn't on the original hat, like green.
So let me ask you this, Alex: what hat is better, my hat or your hat?
My hat.
Yeah, that's right. He's got the better hat.
And what part of your hat is better that everyone notices? What does your hat do that Clint's doesn't do as much?
It's the propeller spins a lot more.
And so since you've been wearing it these 2 days, even without Clint, when you're just by yourself, what kind of attention have you been getting from people as you've been walking around? The ladies, yeah.
People say like, did you get this hat from the park? Where did you get it from? And then it's actually, and then we get it from the internet. And some people even say, I didn't know those things were still around.
Yeah. Oh, we heard that yesterday. They still make those.
So
yeah.
what you are saying right now is something that I get 20,000 times a day. Like the number one thing is nice hat. They'll be like, hey, nice hat. And I'll be like, yeah, thank you.
Wait. Isn't number one, aren't you Clint Novak?
No.
And then number two?
No. Way more people will say nice hat than Clint Novak.
Okay, yeah.
So they'll say nice hat, and then some people will carry on, where can I get a hat like that?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's an amazing hat. And then there's the very rare, maybe 1 out of 1 million people will say, hey, aren't you Clint Novak?
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
We've been here, this is our 3rd day at the park, and at least 20 people, more than that, 50, have come up and called out Clint Novak. It is ridiculous. People who work here know who he is.
Yes.
People on the midways.
My favorite was the guy that said, "Oh, hey, I used to watch your videos 10 years ago."
Yeah, exactly.
The podcast.
Podcast.
He said
Yeah.
he used to listen to the podcast 10 years ago.
Having no.
My favorite was, hey, aren't you Rob Elvey? That was
Yo.
my favorite.
Said with a smile.
No. He really thought it was Rob Elvey.
Wait a second. I totally thought he was kidding.
No. What he was doing is he didn't remember who I was directly.
Right.
But Rob Elvey was the first name that popped in his head.
Knew
so
you
he
were.
said, oh, Rob Elvey. Oh, wait. And then I was giving him crap for it. And he was like, oh, never mind. And then as we were doing our live Facebook thing that night, he then came up and said, never mind. I know who you are. You're Clint Novak.
Oh,
So
I thought he was just
came back
messing
and
with
recapped.
you.
No,
Okay.
No, I don't think so.
All right. Well, we've talked this long, but haven't talked about the star attraction yet. So we got to get there with ladies first.
Gatekeeper.
Of course. And that's true. Blue Streak said Gatekeeper. Oh man, yeah.
Rougarou.
So many. That's true. We didn't talk. Rougarou better than Mantis for you?
I mean,
Yeah.
it's slightly less painful, but still a lot of headbanging.
So a waste of about $4.5 million to redo that, something like that. $5 million between the paint and the new cars. Yeah,
we
seems
only
kind of
rode
silly.
it once, didn't even feel the need to ride it
And
again.
Without a
you know
line,
what?
right?
It's
You
so
would need
funny
to.
because the park is busy some of these days that we're here, and they're still running half-empty trains because there's nobody riding.
I haven't seen a full
Everyone's
Rougarou train
riding
yet.
One thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maverick.
Yeah.
That's probably the second
Every
one.
time
Exactly.
you guys try to segue, I just jump into it with something else.
No, it's a beautiful thing.
Okay.
And there've been hour-long waits there.
Yeah.
But all right, so really on to Blue Streak. or whatever.
Cruise
No,
and barbecue.
on the more important things, finally Washington getting their first championship with our Virginia fans. Do you even remember the last Washington championship?
I was 6.
I was gonna say
6 years old, and I did not comprehend how amazing and rare it was. I was like, oh good, that's the team we like. I'm glad they won.
And that was Redskins, right?
That was the Redskins.
Yeah.
I had a Redskins sweatshirt. That's about all I
And
remember.
that's it.
And where did they play that game?
Ooh.
Minnesota Metrodome.
Oh
yeah!
my God, yes. And what's the connection there?
I used to live in Minnesota.
Yes.
In Minnesota.
There we go.
Yeah, I had a Redskins pennant in my bedroom.
Oh, that's so funny.
I was not a football fan at all, but for some reason I had that and a Chicago White Sox pennant.
Yeah.
I don't know, I think I just like the hats. I always used to wear Chicago White Sox hats.
Sure. Yeah. No, it's a sharp hat.
What about beanies? Did you wear beanies?
I didn't when I was a kid. No, I didn't start that.
Yeah, this
until,
is
well,
new.
Cedar Point started it, and it was 2000. In the year 2000, I found a Joker hat that I wore. In 2001, I found the beanie hat.
Okay.
So since 2001, I've been wearing the beanie.
Okay, didn't know the origins behind that. And it's such a great trademark. At some point, Alex, you've got to find your own unique one. For now, this is cool to wear a beanie and be mini Clint.
He's my assistant.
Exactly.
When all the fans come up, he makes sure they know how much an autograph costs.
If they want a picture, they have to pay like $10 or $1. And if they want to spend half a day with us, 50, or a whole day with us, 100.
Wow.
Yep.
He's
It's
got
like,
that.
It's like VIP tours by Clint Novak. So
He's got that down.
In fact, I gotta get that website right now. VIP tours by Clint Novak.
Alex, how much are signatures? They are like $10.
Exactly.
Good.
He remembers all
Yeah.
this.
And he takes 10% right off the top. He sits down at the end of the night, he puts on his little visor, and boom, he makes sure that everything gets taken care of.
It's deserved.
Also, sometimes people like, so someone, this girl that works for Maverick, she keeps trying to steal my hat.
Oh, yes, exactly.
And then she grabs it, and then I come over and steal it by the
Steal it back. A lot of people want that beanie. I don't
Yeah,
blame you.
very, very popular.
But there's no hope of us talking about Steel Vengeance, is there? There's just
Steal what? What happened?
Steel some. Yeah, well,
Steel Vengeance?
some
Steel
good
Vengeance.
and some bad.
Let me tell you, I was very excited about this coaster.
Okay.
And then I was like, overhyped. It's getting overhyped. And then I watched the POV online. And I was like, maybe it's not being overhyped. This looks phenomenal. And then I was like, oh, am I going to fit on it? Am I not going to fit on it? So I was like, I'm not even going to get excited about this.
Yeah.
If I make it, great. If not, no big deal. And then I fit on it. And it's like my number one. Number 2 coaster. Probably number 3.
Well, I want to say something about Clint because Clint and others continue to say that Steel Vengeance is their number 1 coaster.
Yeah.
And I just want to clarify that it is the number 1 coaster, but you have to specify coaster because it will never touch the best ride on the planet, Race to New York starring Jimmy Fallon at Universal Studios Orlando.
Oh my
That is the best ride, and Steel Vengeance doesn't touch it. Doesn't touch it.
Orlando bias.
Let's talk about the real attraction here. Those steel motorcycles that spin around.
Oh, the little junior steel motorcycles. Those are exciting. Yes, meep. All right, so it goes to your number 1 is what you're saying.
It's top 3 for sure.
Top 3.
Top 3.
Okay, top 3, which is not bad. So thoughts?
Number 1 for me.
And your first time was at night?
No,
it wasn't.
We
Okay.
rode it pretty early.
Yep.
Yeah, early afternoon maybe. No, but then I really liked it. I was like, okay, I'm not going to say anything till I ride again. The next time I rode in the front row, and I was like, okay, officially number 1.
Okay.
And then we rode at night in the back seat, and nothing has ever compared to
Wow.
that.
So do you prefer front or back?
Back.
You do. Okay.
I thought you said front.
No. I'm usually back's usually what I like better.
Oh,
No,
definitely.
Yeah.
Yep. Wow.
I like airtime.
Okay, so high praise.
Yes.
So your thoughts?
I would
in
say
reality?
number 1 too. I really liked it,
Okay.
and I preferred it in the back.
Yeah.
So it was really good.
Okay.
Big fan.
Yeah. Okay. So very impressive. And then your thoughts. Now you've done it a bunch of times by now.
Oh,
you'd
yeah,
say?
I think I've been on it probably 10 times this year.
Yeah.
I know it's like a common thing when the new coaster opens, it's everybody's favorite, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, I can say without any doubt in my mind, like it's got to be the best ride that I've at least been on. I can't say in the world.
Okay.
I've ridden everything in the world, but I would be hard pressed to believe there's something better right now out there.
Okay.
For me.
And for you, how many approximate RMCs have you done?
6.
Okay, so you have plenty of experience on them, and this blows the others away.
All of them are in my top 10.
Okay, wow.
I'm a big fan of what they do.
Don't blame
Regardless of whether or not the rides work, they're still great.
Yep. And favorite part of the ride?
I'm gonna go wild card here. A lot of people say it's those inversions or stuff like that. My favorite part of the ride, hands down, is the turn into the structure. Kind of like halfway through the ride.
Yes.
It's got head choppers that, like, even everybody talks about the Gemini head chopper, how good it is. This one's like 10 times that. It's so.
I don't know. The Gemini head chopper is classic.
It is. It's fun. And the Fury head chopper, if you're in that right seat, I think that's a lot of fun too. Yeah. All right. Favorite part of the ride? You know it well enough at this point to have an aspect that you like the most?
Every ride we've been on, I've just gone nuts.
Yeah.
I think I'm like drooling. You guys Sherry about it.
Like body fluids going everywhere.
Oh, it's terrible.
His shirt flew off.
Oh my god. But every ride I have lost it on the first inversion. Like the first couple of hills, I'm like, oh my god, and we flip upside down and I'm just gone.
Yes. Well, and that's interesting you say that, because compared to other RMCs, you take a lot of those inversions at a much slower pace. That you're moving pretty quickly, so I think that's what makes that unique.
Did we bring duct tape? Because I know Slater's very worried about that.
That what?
Duct tape.
Oh, duct tape falling out. Yep, you haven't fallen out in a long time. So cool ride. This one, shout out. Very nice, dude. So what do you think about the ride?
I like it.
You like it?
Yeah, I love it, actually.
Again, the hard-hitting analysis that people go to TPF for, I like it. Which I agree. So sweet.
Yeah.
All right. So final thoughts on coming back here for the first time in 5 years.
I don't want to wait 5 years again.
Yeah.
At least no more than 2 years. Hopefully next year we come back.
Well, they've got a big celebration coming up in a couple of years, right?
Yeah, I forgot about the 150.
The 150.
Wow,
So that a lot of people
cool.
speculate that has to be another huge year for an addition. So yeah.
Blue Streak RMC.
Confirmed.
Okay.
Clint Novak said it.
Exactly. There we go.
Dippin' Dots guy just seconds ago.
You know,
Yes.
we're still waiting on the King's Dominion Wing Rider on the front gate.
Hey, Sherry was the one who said it. She was the one in the video. So
My prediction.
Yeah, blame her for it. It doesn't happen.
So
Well, technically they already have two RMCs, because Gemini is steel and wood.
But not RMC.
yeah, I mean, hybrid and RMC aren't exactly the same phrase there. Yep. So in any ways, with your home park and you go to King's Dominion so much, does it diminish Twisted Timbers at all for you? Now going on this, and it's like, oh my gosh, you feel like this is 10 times better?
I knew, like, I liked Twisted Timbers, but it was never, like, it never blew my mind.
Right.
I was very happy that I was brought to the park.
Yeah.
And it's top 3 at King's Dominion for me.
Okay,
so.
and we'll take that. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, every coaster is going to be unique in its own sense. So, you can't just say, oh, well, both of them are RMC'd, so, they should be in the same class, and that can't be true at all. I mean, they have an Intamin coaster here, and we have an Intamin coaster at King's Dominion.
Yep.
Doesn't mean they're the same Intamin coaster.
Exactly.
One is definitely my top 3, and then you got one that is not open this season. But, there's so many differences between coasters. So,
Yep.
I think Seal Vengeance is amazing, but that doesn't take away that Twisted Timbers is a good ride.
I thoroughly agree.
Way better than Hurler would ever.
Undoubtedly. Well, we've got more video stuff to do.
Yeah.
So we've
got midway games to play,
Yep.
and all the kinds of stuff that we want to waste money on through the day.
Oh, absolutely.
We got to go waste money. This is big budget stuff. This is Kevin Costner's Waterworld. We're talking about here. Biggest YouTube video we've ever made, and it's gonna flop at the box office.
Oh, no. We're gonna push this thing hard. And just to see, I mean, everyone's got to check it out to see what Reese got on his face.
Yes. Well, and not only that, I mean, there's definitely, people remember that at one point I wore a dress on a roller coaster. So, will Clint Novak put another dress on?
Oh my gosh.
You got to go over to our YouTube page and find out.
We have potential cross-dressing. We've got potential crazy things. Potential. This is a family podcast. We've got.
There's nothing unfamily about
a man putting on a dress.
Yeah, a Sesame Street last week. I saw an episode where they had some cross-dressing. Good point. Absolutely. Yes. And so, and also check out what is on Reese's face, and we've got lots of other potential surprises there. So no, we're gonna blow this thing up. This has got to be a monster. A Crayola video in the dust. Right?
Who cares about that crane video?
So yeah, check that all out. And then we have potentially a couple more coasters to ride before we all make the long trek back to the East Coast.
Correct.
All right, well, thanks for joining us for this episode. Thanks for all your help, guys. And let's get back out there.
All right.
Cool. So very cool. Some interesting musings from different people, including a lot of enthusiasts who've ridden many rides, and interesting to see how many people consider Steel Vengeance either their number one or in their top couple. Would you say you're in that group of in your top few?
Yeah, and Steel Vengeance is in my top 7 to 10.
I think that's fair. It's really hard, as you said. It gets harder and harder the more coasters you do to rank them. I'm not going to ask you to do any more lists in the future. I think it's just very unfair at this point.
It's hard.
It really is. It's super hard. We're going to have at least one more show come out before we are gone to our long trip, including the Coaster Radio meetup coming up here in the next week and a half. So excited to see everyone, Mike, EB, and the whole Slack crew. So that'll be awesome to see everyone there, including, it's also sort of a informal ride this one. Oh, which reminds me of someone interesting who you're going to be seeing pretty soon. Who do you have to confront?
Jordan Driver.
Oh my gosh, you have been lifting weights like a madman in preparation for Jordan Driver. And I think you're going to absolutely wreck his world. He thinks he's like a muscle daddy on that show, but you are the man. We're going to post some pictures about that on Ride This 2 and Ride This 1. And Andrew had some things to say to Jordan Driver, who said he beat up a kid, so that's kind of entertaining as well. So we'll definitely get at least one more out next week. We have to talk about Hollywood Nights still and our Kennywood trip with EB and family, so lots to chat about there. You can find us so many places on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube at Theme Park Fam, and subscribe in all the wonderful places you can find podcasts. So thanks so much for joining us. Hopefully everyone can make it to Cedar Point this summer, as they've got a huge hit on their hands and a great ride that's just so much fun. We'll see you soon. Hope you're all enjoying your summer. And again, record those MP3s, send it in to us. We'd love to play it on the show if anyone has exciting stories to tell. At Cedar Point Barbecue and Brew, you could have bought a stout.
But I can't. I'm only 9. I'll stick to water. Andrew, out.